Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, January 1st of 2018. That means the month is over for December and I'm on my European account, as is now my new strategy. So we made it to rank 20 on the European account, which will give us a rank 20 chest, which gives us 5 dust and a gold card and a new card back and 5 bonus stars, which really my only goal now is to get back to rank 20 on all 3 of the accounts, and that's all I really care about for the while. Because this is the European account, it seems like you can never get the drop rate quite where I need it to be. So this third one will come in like a couple of hours. So in the meantime, I could play 15 overload cards almost certainly very easily, and rogue and warrior victories not so easily. Now would be the time for ranked play though, so if there is going to be any ranked play, this is the time to do it. So we'll just disenchant this one, since my European account strategy is to disenchant any golds for dust and use that dust to create any missing commons. Let's see, like missing classic cards are specifically what I'm looking for. So another pirate for 100. That was a waste. And that leaves me with 80. Let's keep switching through here and see if there's anything left to craft. I suppose there is a lot left to craft, come to think of it. All of these that are missing, like, just duplicate the common cards so that they're off the table, and I have more of the classic cards that are hero based. So if I get a daily quest that says play 100 cards, I have more 100 cards. If I get a daily quest that says play more of something else, I can do that. However, it cost me 40 gold to make those 2 cards, so that's as much as I can do today. Not great progress. Card back time. This is the new favorite, I suppose. Maybe I never even used this one. I don't think I got around to it. Let's get out of crafting mode. And we need a shaman deck that is all about overloads. And more I just am gonna have to get rid of these original decks now. It's time for that to happen. So shaman deck might as well be a standard deck. Choose this, and then we can just type in overload. And play all of the overload cards, and play the one card that actually works with overload cards. And at that point, I might be able to squeeze Murlocs in too. Wow. That doesn't make sense. Where's all my other Murlocs? Where are all my other Murlocs? Seriously. Oh, I'm looking at classic cards. I needed to look at standard cards. Like, ooh, I was very confused for a second there. That spooked me like nothing no one has ever done before, because if Hearthstone could screw up in such a way that it forgot the cards I had, that would be very scary. So now I have more overload cards, and now I can look at Murlocs and see if I can squeeze enough Murlocs into this, if I can spell Murloc right, and if I could combine 2 decks into one. That is potentially what I'll do. Of course, I can't really do that. Yeah, even on this account, the number of Murlocs is high enough to make your own deck based on that. Alright. So we're done with that. Hop into the game and start playing. And I'm gonna just play casual. Well, I guess I might as well just play ranked right now. Ranked seems to make sense. We have a decent amount of news. Most of it is top 10 Game of the Year stuff. For some insane reason, the Nightbot playlist has decided to go crazy. I don't know what it is doing that, but it is. So if we get any song notifications, it's very possible that the songs will skip really fast and far. And maybe you couldn't click on the links and listen to the music anyways. I looked at the secret playlist set up as I have it, and I was thinking, is there something different I could do to improve it or rephrase things? Unfortunately, Nightbot is just so beta that I can't figure out any way to change anything at all. So not even a single word. Otherwise I would phrase things better. So I want to start, I guess, with Giant Bomb's Game of the Year 2017 best game. I listened to all of their deliberations, if I can say that correctly. And for the most part, I don't remember any of it. Like, literally nothing. It went on for so extremely long, and they argued amongst themselves for so long in every single category that I could not off the top of my head tell you what game won anything. I don't have any reason or explanation as to why any game won any of the categories. It really failed this year in particular to highlight a game and award it anything. It highlighted the arguments. Maybe there's been a change of opinion in me, almost certainly this year. A lot of things have happened, and my view of the mainstream video game media has definitely shifted, and that might be coloring my vision. But honestly, as objectively as I can look at it, it seems like it's just a poorly thought out deliberation. At least when you have something like the Video Game Awards, at least when you have something like the Emmys, there is definite focus on giving an award, saying the name, making that be a big thing, recapping things in between commercial breaks in most of the Emmys and Oscars things. There's just like a thought process there that helps, and that's not the case. And so and the other thing is with the Giant Bomb thing is they didn't write down any of their lists, so I'm having to go through a comment that's hidden behind a spoiler tag on their video. So I mean, I know they're doing it right as they're also leaving for the Christmas break, and that there's some reasons behind them not doing a lot of print versions of their things, but they clearly directly say they had an Excel sheet that they were moving the lists up and down. As a side note, I did the 2017 year in review. At the end of the year review, I picked a game of the year. For me, my pick of the game of the year of the games I played was Darksiders War Mastered Edition. I think it was probably the best game I played all year, and it has that beauty of really being a surprise release and giving hope that the series is going to continue, because all indications are the series is in production to continue. They've said that much. So, yeah. But in that process of me working with an Excel sheet, I realized I should probably have a column where I could mark things and do a top 10. So I practically talked out the idea of what my top 10 games are, but I didn't sweat it or think for a second that, like, what the exact order is. So I probably named a few top 3s, a few top 4 through 6s, and a few top 7s through 10s. And didn't get down to the minutia of who is better than who, which I'm fine with that. But next year, I think we're going to do a real top 10. Maybe I'll even break the two videos apart. I also am kind of happy that I somehow managed to do the 2017 year in review and not get on a rant, because all this week I've been thinking I'm going to have this huge rant about how awful it seems that the mainstream video game media has been, and I didn't really have to deal with that. It just all kind of slipped my mind as I was thinking about what I was doing instead of looking at what other people were doing, which is I guess a nice perspective to take. So I may get more of a rant today, which, you know, my live streams have gotten pretty ranty anyways. It's just in the turn. So the top 10 list is number 10, Dream Daddy. Honestly, I don't feel like Dream Daddy should have been on the top list, but Abby in particular pushed really, really hard in several categories to get Dream Daddy to win. Now, this is a bit of a rant that I'm going to try and say, not make assumptions, and just say what it looks like on the exterior. It honestly looks like Abby in particular, but Giant Bomb, since its inception, has had a kind of lack of interest, biased against Japanese games, with the exception of Nintendo games. Like, Nintendo games gets a pass, but anything that is a Japanese style game has been from the beginning not really played, not really considered. That in the fact that almost all visual novels or Japanese games, uh, or Asian games of some sort, and in that anime style, they've never really had any interest in covering any visual novels up until this point. And from the outside, it seems very possible, and the way Abby was arguing it, it seemed very, very obvious that the only reason it was even for consideration is because Dream Daddy pushes a liberal agenda to be pro homosexuals, which like, I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine with that, but I cannot believe that in the entire collection of the thousands and thousands of visual novels on Steam, Dream Daddy was the best this year, or Dream Daddy was so exceptionally better than all the others that have ever come out in all history that all of a sudden it justifies being in the top 10 of every single style of game. This also kind of comes into play when Abby was arguing against Nier Automata. She didn't want it as high on the list as it was going to get. And for reference, I probably would have given Nier Automata number 1 had I played it this year. Travis popped into the chat and said, "Hey, Rydo." And then there are people that aren't Abby. There are other websites that are giving Butterfly Soup Game of the Year awards, or Best Visual Novel of the Year awards, for the same reason. It's a liberal agenda thing, like pro Muslim girls, and Muslim girl wearing a Bleach anime shirt in one cutscene, which, and while also wearing a hijab. And I'm like, okay, depending on which country you're in, you might get arrested and thrown in jail or executed for that. So yeah, it certainly looks like their agenda put Dream Daddy on top 10. Next one is Tekken 7. Now, I might argue Tekken 7 doesn't even deserve to be on the list, but it's kind of the special interest for fighter fans, and I'm not sure how many fighting game fans there are. There is no other fighting game on the top 10 list, so maybe Tekken 7 was the best fighting game of the year, but I'm not sure it adds anything. What I would say, and what I would argue, is that Tekken 7 doesn't deserve to be on the top 10 list because it didn't succeed in the same way that all previous fighting games haven't succeeded, in which they don't bring new players to the table. Some of the Injustice games tried really hard to do that by having the DC superheroes as the fighters, but it really has been, since the days of Mortal Kombat and arcade games, it's been that long since people, new players, have wanted to play fighting games. I think inherently it comes down to the fact that fighting games were originally arcade games, and they have 6 to 8 buttons that need to be laid out in a completely different, so you kind of have this high barrier of entry to play a fighting stick, to buy a fighting stick and play with that. There is also similar issues with driving games. Driving games are probably a lot better if you have a $200 driving wheel set up on your PC or your console. But that's just such a high barrier to entry. You need 5 to 10 racing games before you could even consider doing something like that and it being realistic. So number 8 was Night in the Woods. They were very, very happy with Night in the Woods. Every time I see Night in the Woods, I am disappointed with the graphics and uninterested with the graphics. So there must be something in the story there that really, really catches their attention. But who knows if that's something that I would enjoy or not. Then number 7 is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. And honestly, I don't know if it deserves to be on the list too, but like I could probably go through at least 6 or 7 of these games and say maybe it shouldn't be in the top 10. Particularly if I started to name like some independent games and non-big title games. Everything on their list is something that they wrote an article or did a video on, Giant Bomb did, and it got them a lot of views. So there's no sleeper hits, there's no niche surprise hits in this. I would argue Wolfenstein 2 is just a kind of wild, kind of crazy story that you might enjoy with a bad gameplay shooter around it. I would argue Titanfall 2 probably should be on this list instead of Wolfenstein 2. And I haven't played either one of those games, but I suspect from what I heard, Titanfall 2 was a better shooter. And if that's what you're going for in a game, that's fine. Number 6 is Destiny 2. I think once you get tied into some of these MOBAs, you just can't give them up. And so, like, I wouldn't give Destiny 2... it wouldn't be on this list too. Of course, it's easy to be critical here. Like, I'm saying I wouldn't have most of these games on this list, but I honestly can't, off the top of my head, think of complete replacements for them. I would also say it still feels like that same agenda, that same liberal agenda that pushed Wolfenstein 2 to being on the list. But it's kind of a shame that there's not some way I could search every game that came out on Steam in 2018, and there's so many that did come out. Like I would have to filter. Maybe I could do that, but it would take too much time to set it up. With the enhanced Steam plugin, I might actually be able to do that. Come to think of it. Next was Cuphead. I can't disagree with Cuphead being on the list. Maybe I could disagree with it being on top 5. They certainly argued a lot whether Cuphead was better than Super Mario Odyssey. I think I would agree, though, that Super Mario Odyssey, which is number 4, is better than Cuphead. And then they say Nier Automata is better than Super Mario Odyssey, which I almost want to disagree with that. Like, that's a hard decision. Do you want a mature game, or do you want a repetitive kids game with a ton of moons to collect? And when you start talking repetition, it doesn't work in either one of their favors, because while it is a repetitive, well, I was hoping that would be a 2-2, and that would be a 3-3, and that would be a 4-4. Like, there's some repetitive gameplay in playing Nier Automata 2 or 3 times in a row, and then but honestly it starts changing up after the second run through, and it's like a completely different experience, I think, on the third and continuing run throughs to get different endings in Nier Automata. So it probably is better than Super Mario Odyssey, although once you take the nostalgia out. But I completely disagree that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is better than Super Mario Odyssey, because there's just some major problems with Breath of the Wild. Alright, so now I just need to go ahead and get some Rogue or Warrior victories. Do I have something that will work for Rogue? We have a custom Warrior. and we have a couple of rogues, so any rogue in the storm, I suppose. We'll try custom rogue 2 and see what this is. So in all honesty, instead of having Legend of Zelda at 2, I would have put it at least at 5 and move Cuphead, Super Mario Odyssey, and Nier Automata up. And then number 1 is PUBG, and I would argue that PUBG doesn't even really deserve to be on the list because it's not a finished game and it's not really doing anything super special. There's a lot of problems with let's see. There's a lot of problems with giving PUBG even putting on the list, let alone making it the best game ever. So at the end of the day, I'm majorly disagreeing with their opinions, and further, I'm disagreeing with how they arrived at their opinions. It didn't seem like it definitely wasn't a democratic thing. Every time somebody brought up voting, which was mentioned many times, Brad in particular said no and argued against it. The few times that they did have voting, it was by forcing it to be like non-binding, and it had people just going kind of in circles mentally. The thing that really strikes me is that there is it called Robert's Rules of Orders? There's a book that was written a long time ago on how to manage and run deliberations. It's like it's what they're quoting and what they're using a lot of times in Congress and Senate and stuff like that, or something like that. And if they just used the standard book, they should easily have been able to do a much better show. Simply by giving each person a set amount of time, like they do in Congress, to argue their case and then having a vote. And I don't think it takes too much work to change it in such a way that to set it up so everybody like would argue their top 10, argue their favorite games, and however they wanted it. There's 6 people in the room, so if they had given each person 5 minutes, put a timer on it, that probably would have worked rather well. Let's see. Trying to see. Calculator. Yeah, Steam database has this thing where you can calculate how much money you spent on your entire account if you want to be depressed. I'm looking at Steam database right now, trying to see if there's some way I could see every game. Let's see, packages. Is it under packages? No. Is it under apps? Apps. Let's see. Stats. Alright, top rated games, maybe. And then let's see, how could we filter? No, it doesn't strike me as there's a way to do this easily. So that's kind of a shame. But I'm looking at Steam database and everything else. Let's see, maybe a Google search of just games in 2017. Let's see. Persona 5 was not on the list. I imagine there's an argument there. Alright, so I guess we could maybe use this list. Let's see. Like, there's a Wikipedia article, gaming in 2017. Alright, here we go. So, I'm gonna just scroll down the list from January to December of games on Wikipedia that came out and mention some that I think might have been, should have been on the top 10. One of which should be Resident Evil 7. Travis asks if I have Kingsbane. I'll look, but I imagine I don't on this European account. Like this is just kind of a random deck I was trying out. I'm trying to get some victories on low rank players since we're both ranked 23 at the first here. I suppose Kingdom Hearts doesn't deserve to be in the top 10, but Yakuza 0 was talked about a lot, so maybe it would make number 10 over Dream Daddy. Yeah, it should have beat Dream Daddy. It's a more varied game. So that rogue didn't work. Let's try this rogue. I don't think any of the Dynasty Warrior games would deserve to win. For Honor certainly didn't deserve to win. The Berserk game was a big disappointment to me that wasn't something that succeeded. Like, I was hoping it would have been a good Berserk game. More people would have learned about Berserk. Let's see. Well, The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus came out, but I don't think it deserved to win. But the same argument that put PUBG in number 1, if everybody had been playing Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, would have put that as a top 10 list. I don't think either one of them deserved to be on the list. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom I don't think was good, so that explains that. I'm not going to make any silly claims like Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash should have been on the top 10, although certainly would have been funny. Let's see. Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda, no. The Zero Escape Nonary games. If that potentially could have been in the top 10. Probably for the same reason that some of the Kingdom Hearts games could have been in the top 10 though, so maybe they're so niche. There definitely is an argument to not giving a niche game the victory in the top 10, but it really comes down to the fact that the Giant Bomb top 10 list and all of these sites' top 10 lists are based on what they play, and most video game reviewers don't play niche games at all. I think Snake Pass had a chance to win there. I didn't see anybody even play The Walking Dead Season 3, so that I don't even think they gave it a chance. And I didn't play it either. I haven't. I will play it eventually. Let's see. Persona 5, we already talked about. Bayonetta coming out on the Windows operating system. I think that should have been in consideration. If maybe not. I guess it just depends on whether you draw the line on games having to be original or not. Sexy Brutale should have gotten more coverage by far, so I don't know if it would have made it a top 10 or not, but yeah, I'd make it an 11 and knock off some of the things. Full Throttled Remastered, maybe. Nobody played Guardians of the Galaxy's Telltale game. The Disney Afternoon Collection, for a nostalgia reason, might have made it. Let's see. What Remains of Edith Finch definitely should have been on the top 10 list. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe seemed to be nothing special. A lot of these aren't specifically PC games, but Giant Bomb was never saying that they were only going to play PC games. In fact, I think the majority of what they cover are console games. Let's see, Minecraft coming out on a new console. I wouldn't give it that. The sequel to Akiba's Strip is Akiba's Beat. That came out and was immediately forgotten. Probably fine. Injustice 2. I would maybe argue Injustice 2 is better than Tekken 7. Having not played either one of those games. Darksiders War Master Edition did come out for the Wii U, and I think PC this year, so it probably should have been in consideration since I gave it Game of the Year. Let's keep on scrolling. Star Trek Bridge Crew. Is that a fair one? Give friendly minion immune this turn. Alright, now we'll do that, that, and that. Play one of those, and then the turn. Let's see, Dirt 4 wouldn't have deserved it to be on the top 10. ARMS, I could see why you wouldn't want it. Final Fantasy 15, like, I imagine there might be somebody that would go give it to Final Fantasy 15 if it was a finished game, but since it really isn't, I would say no to that. The Crash Bandicoot collection, no. Hmm. Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age. There actually is a decent argument to say that might make a top 10 list, since it is an improved version of the previous Final Fantasy 12. If Final Fantasy 12 was good, I did not play that well at all. What's this game called? Anti-Sphere? Sphere? I've never even heard of that one. Splatoon 2. I think Splatoon 2 has equal footing to win over PUBG, because at least Splatoon 2 was a finished project. Tacoma was talked about a lot. I wouldn't give it a top 10 list, but it was talked about. I think Hellblade Sesuna's Sacrifice would have deserved to be in the top 10 list, honestly. Even if it's a short game that has some problems, it probably deserves a little bit more claim for trying something different and trying to go independent. Let's do this. And I think I should kill somebody. Yep, that's what I figured. Explosive trap. Let's see. Lawbreakers didn't deserve to win. StarCraft Remastered came out, and there was no talk or thought whatsoever to even consider that. Night Trap 25th Anniversary, no real reason. Sonic Mania, maybe a reason to do Sonic Mania, but not really. In a similar way, as I'm looking at Naruto Shippuden and One Piece games, there is a significant number of fighting games that are Eastern based on anime fighting games that also are not given any consideration by Giant Bomb. So when you start saying Tekken 7 is the best, I mean, it's a completely different style of fighting game. But if you're going to say one, you should consider the others. Record doesn't deserve to be on it. Windjammers doesn't deserve to be on it. Life is Strange Before the Storm, no. There most definitely was a lot of things. Arguably, a lot of people would put things like Pro Evolution Soccer on the top 10 list if they love Pro Evolution Soccer, although I imagine that it's not that great of a game. I suppose the question comes down to, how are you making your list? Is it based on your own personal opinions, or is it based on what you think the general gaming public Well, I just drew every single card I have left. And then of course Giant Bomb has a bigger issue in that it's a whole group of people, and wouldn't be fine. I'd be okay if they just all the sites with groups of people just had top 10 lists for each reporter and didn't even try to have a website. It really is corporations or people as an argument that that the corporation of Giant Bomb needs a top 10 website when there's no single person running that, or theoretically the person running the Giant Bomb website is the person in charge of Giant Bomb, and so it really just is going to be mostly their influence. FIFA 18, Star Fox 2? No. Well, that's one victory down. The Evil Within 2? Maybe it deserved more consideration. When I get around to playing The Evil Within 2, I'll have to rethink this year's top 10 list. I've finished all of the main story of Evil Within 1, and I'm taking a break and playing a different game before I go do the DLC. The Evil Within 1 is a shallow, poor comparison to Resident Evil 4, sadly. And I couldn't find any reason when I beat the game on casual to go back and play New Game Plus, particularly since I would have to play it on casual again. Like, they gave you a machine gun, that's fine, but I probably would have to play it a second time on New Game Plus on casual, follow walkthrough, get every single collectible, and hope that unlocks something that I could take in a regular new game where I would start from scratch playing on hardcore mode, and that would somehow make it work. Just to beat the game on hardcore mode to maybe unlock something else, and like, it just, the interactions, the events didn't catch my attention. I would argue the Mummy Demastered has a place. Like, there's a good argument to making a Metroidvania game based on a movie that is better than the movie by far. See, I haven't even really named any Japanese games that would go on the top 10 list. I could certainly argue Assassin's Creed Origins, while it isn't like Assassin's Creed 2, and thus doesn't really feel like it's an Assassin's Creed game, is still probably worth being on the top 10 list, as just if you called it Origins alone and said it was an open world RPG game, it seems like it still works. And arguably, I would say maybe Assassin's Creed Origins works a little bit better than Wolfenstein the New Colossus, Wolfenstein 2 the New Colossus. So why did Wolfenstein get on that list and kind of high on that list, and Origins not get mentioned at all? Well, if you listen to the deliberations and can pay attention to them throughout the whole length of them, so many breaks were taken. Like, I would listen for 10-20 minutes and then have to take a break for several hours. And then I'd listen for another 10-20 minutes and have to take a break for several hours. In between listening to the deliberations of the top 10 of Giant Bomb. I'm glad no other website really does that, because that would just be infuriatingly long wastes of time. Neo, another game that has a chance. Maybe it would be 11, but maybe it should be on the top 10 list. Like, I wouldn't give anything to the Batman Telltale series. It'll do 2+, probably. Should be considered. I'd really have to play that one. L.A. Noire came back out. I wouldn't give it a top 10 list though. Here's one that's very interesting. I heard nobody talk about or even play Pokemon Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. Like, maybe Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon is just an upgrade to Pokemon Sun and Moon. I think it is, and that might explain some of that. But there is also a level of, because this was a 3DS game and no real 3DS games were even considered, it just got lost. It probably is a pretty good Pokemon game. I don't think there's any reason why Skyrim being re-released should be on the list, even though it was re-released to like the PlayStation VR, and so that could potentially be argued as a major change of events. Here's the Kingsbane card that Travis was talking about, so I'll hold on to that and play it. Kingsbane as a card is a decent one for the rogue if you have 2 poisons and anything else. Let's see. I didn't hear anybody play Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time, so who knows if that was any good. A few people are playing Xenoblade Chronicles. What was weird about this year is that it was such a good year for releases that I think a lot of people missed out on a lot of things. Like Dead Rising 4 Frank's Big Package, is that an expansion or is that Dead Rising 4 in a re-release? A Hat in Time. Maybe A Hat in Time. Should have been on the top 10 list. Travis asks, have I played the Witcher card game? No, because I think you have to buy it. That there's like a buy-in to it. So it's not free to play. Or maybe I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm not sure. I certainly played Gwent when I was playing Witcher 3. And I liked the concept in the single player experience. But even there, it felt like that was something that would only work in a single player experience, so that they're going to have to add a lot of variety, a lot more variety than the game had, to make it a sustainable, continue to play game. And just visually having 6 rows on your screen is going to make things look a bit smaller. It is possible eventually I will start playing that instead of playing Hearthstone, but that is a really hard sell. It's same as Fable Fortunes, same as Magic the Gathering, same as the most recent Yu-Gi-Oh release. If the interface is not good, if the community is not there, if there's any reason whatsoever that almost all the Hearthstone players are not going to move over to that new game, then it's hard for me to play a second card game. Witcher 3 in particular doesn't have the World of Warcraft cutesy animations, so if I was a parent and I saw my kid playing, say, Witcher card game or even a Magic the Gathering card game, I would, if I was a conservative parent, I'd be more concerned about that than if they were playing this. Destroy 2 random minions. I can do this. Yakuza Kiwami 2, again, a game that might be considered. Hello Neighbor, no. Okami HD, maybe that should be a consideration for Game of the Year. Pinball FX3 came out, but really it's just an upgrade of Pinball FX2, so I certainly would see a reason to not spend spend the collateral to put that on the top 10 list. Let's see. And I believe that is the last game. In fact, the last game to be released, according to Wikipedia, was on December 25th, called Style Savvy Styling Star for the 3DS. There's a list of unscheduled releases that just, I imagine, came out without any real date. But I'm not sure these would be in the top 10 list either. And then there's a list of canceled games. So Bloodstained Ritual of the Night for the Wii U, Scalebound Titanfall Frontline for Android and iOS, MetaWorld for VR, and then Club Penguin, Firefall, Tomorrow's Children, and Marvel Heroes were all shut down and discontinued. And then there's another list for critically praised games, so I could have just gone through this list of about 20 games. Like Res Infinite and N++ also getting mentioned, but not having very many reviews. You know, I could see Res Infinite having an argument to succeed. So yeah, that was almost a long 45-minute rant of just the Giant Bomb top 10 list and top 10 lists in general. A lot of things I disagree with in the way that I feel like the reason for them picking the games were not valid. Like, they really need to have a paragraph explaining each category and what each category stands for. And when it comes to Game of the Year, they need to have all those subcategories of interaction, visual, audio, storyline. Because, like, a game could have a great storyline, but it could be a Telltale game where you don't really interact with it. Or the game could be a great first-person shooter and they have no storyline. The things that make up a game, and it shouldn't have anything like their best style joke list, where that is part of a consideration. Should be actual metrics, which a lot of that just boils down to numbered games. And like, do you want to do you want justifications on why a score gets a certain score? And I don't care as much about the number and the score on games, but I do care if you're going to say it's the best game of the year, you can actually back it up and explain a reason, and that reason makes sense to the general public. Moving on to the next article, Steam reveals its 2017 biggest earners according to PC Gamer. And that list is H1Z1, which is kind of surprising. The Witcher 3. Alright, so The Witcher 3, how was it a biggest earner? It's just a good game that was on sale. Like, there was no microtransactions or anything in Witcher 3. So just a lot of people bought it. Divinity Original Sin 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Dota 2, Ark Survival Involved. All of these games got heavy prominence on my Steam store throughout the year, so I saw them over and over again. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, GTA 5. GTA 5 does have microtransactions. Rocket League had a lot of DLC. Warframe, I'm surprised about that one. PUBG. And Ghost Recon Wildlands. So no real surprise there as far as the ones that earned the most money. But actually kind of a slight surprise on how many of those games, off the top of my head, don't have egregious DLC or microtransactions in them. So the argument or the idea that microtransactions are necessary to make profit is yet again disproven. The game Dead Cells is leaving early access, and well, it's not leaving early access, they're just raising the price. So this is apparently your last chance to get it for $12.74, but also, the game's not finished. And the last thing I want to do, or I would ever suggest, is somebody fall for that kind of trickery. Like, this is just bad video game stuff right there. You like, don't buy an unfinished game, and don't be tricked into buying an unfinished game because they say they're going to raise the price on you. Because in the end, even if Dead Cells once finished is $100, if it's a bad game, who cares? You won't want to spend any amount of money on it. That being said, I'm watching the trailer of Dead Cells and it looks like it's a fine game. Like, that's kind of cool. So, as I'm working towards a thing here, what am I trying to say? Well, right now, I'm trying to wait for this guy to start a run so I can spectate him. There we go. Let's start spectating him. Yes. I was gonna say, because I'm recording 30-minute episodes of my things, of my videos for 2018, that is pushing my series far ahead, and at a certain point I am going to have to just be better at breaking up the live streams. Like, we've been going for an hour now, and I usually want to break up these live streams into 45-minute episodes. So I was going to break this up as soon as I see this guy hopefully win. Travis asks, have you thought about trying arena in Hearthstone? I moved from a ladder player to an arena player, and it's a lot more fun instead of having to play the same decks all the time. I have certainly done arena runs. I have tried it. The problem with arena runs is they cost money, and then I lose in 3 or 4 games. Like, particularly when I'm covering the news, I'm just not paying enough attention. Like, and frankly, I'm just not that good at Hearthstone. So, yeah, if I was like Kriperian and I could do an arena run and get 10 victories on average, or if not full 13 wins, I would play arena all the time, and that would work because then I'd get my gold back, I'd earn more gold, and that would leave me enough gold to open up 50 packs when the next expansion comes out. However, right now, as it's going, the expansions are coming around fast enough that there really seems like there's only enough extra gold after you want to open 50 packs to maybe do 3 or 4 arena runs in the entire 3 or 4 months that you do it. And as I get more cards, on my main account at least, it does make a little bit more sense to play constructed decks. Also, if I'm just doing arena runs, then my deck construction videos don't really have as much importance. And these are all videos that I think get more views as my pack opening videos and my deck construction videos. And it's probably time to make some new deck construction videos if I could think of anything to do. The Kobolds and Catacombs stream expansion really didn't add a lot of interesting cards. It just added the interesting... Let's see. Darn it. And... oh. That's not what this is. Defeat 5 dungeon run bosses. Alright. So we're gonna do a dungeon run, but first I'm gonna switch, stop this recording and break it up. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is January 1st. Maybe the fictional December 32nd. We got a new quest apparently this year. Defeat 5 dungeon run bosses. I also need to get more victories, but since I only need to get 2 things done for the stream, I can actually do a dungeon run and show people, which is nice. Double your starting health works rather well. I was already playing, I suppose, as priest, so let's see, what do we want to do? I have to kind of figure out what I was doing before. I'm going to take this one and move on and play. So the game Beholder, which is a bleak government spying simulator, has a sequel coming out next year. As that is strange because I think Beholder 1 was like, I think Beholder 1 just came out this year. So yeah, no, it came out November 6th 2016. So yeah, and it didn't look like that interesting a game, and they're already on to the sequel. What does that really say about a game? I'm not sure if it says too much of anything. Oops, I could have played there. Well, whatever. That's kind of common, is to flood the market with multiple versions of your game. I've been noticing there's one game in particular that is called A Maze, and there's just so many variations of the A Maze game that are getting up on my Steam curator, not Steam curator, but Steam discovery thing. And so it almost feels like it's a fake game, where like absconding Zatwar and then Escape from Zatwar were the exact same games, or so similar games, and so poor quality that Steam took them off the shelves. And none of those games I saw while going through the discovery to get trading cards, which I personally need an intervention with the Steam trading card stuff. Every time there's a sale, I make badges to get more trading cards, to make more badges, to go up levels, so I have more friends when I really have... I could probably have 60 plus friends right now on Steam, and yet since the other people on Steam can't have 60 plus friends, it's hard for people to decide to add me to their list that way. And I don't bother ever with trading cards. I would do it if people wanted to do that. It'd probably be cheaper and better to do it that way, but the mostly I'm spending a nickel to, even in some cases, really high amounts, as high as like 25 cents per trading card. You usually need at least 3 trading cards to fill out a badge. Filling out a badge gives you 1 trading card for the summer sale. You need 12 trading cards for the summer sale, which is the most expensive badge you could possibly get. Yeah, I don't think I want that. So the whole system just kind of feeds into itself, and it's just kind of lunacy for no real reason. Just to see numbers go up. It's like paying to win in a clicker game. Travis said, I gotta go for the night. See you, Rydo. Thanks for watching, Travis. Have a good night. And let's see, what was I talking about? Yeah, the same summer sale saw me buying 26 more important games than just 99-cent things, like 99-cent hidden object games. I moved away from that and instead bought games that, for one reason or another, I want to play, whether I know that they'll be really bad or they might hit the YouTube algorithm in some way and improve my channel, or they're just things that I actually want to play. Things like the first couple Nancy Drew games, so that I could try them out and later on decide to buy more of those if I'm going to do a Nancy Drew series, or I can just get out cheaply. Some things I get just so I can buy the bundle later cheaper. Like a lot of the bundles on Steam are buy this entire company's collection for $150, and I'm not willing to do that, but I might be willing to instead let's see. Well, that's not going to really help anything, is it? But say you buy half of a bundle in one sale and half of a bundle in the other sale, then I can spread out those expenses. I covered, it seemed like at least 120 games last year, so buying 26 is low, but somewhat still understandable and doable, because in total I'm over 800 games, so if I have to start scraping the bottom of the barrel and playing some of the games that I really am not that interested in, or I was only going to do a spotlight on it, it would be awful. The thing here is, as a video game critic, I'm justifying owning a lot more games than I'll probably ever get around to playing, because I want them for historical purposes in case I ever need them, and I also want them for the, let's see, for in case of emergency things. Like, almost all the AAA games I get, I will play. But the AA games, most of those I'm planning on playing. But the single A games, no. And sometimes you get, think, games like Hitman, where there's an entire generation of Hitman games that really aren't playable on modern computers. And I still want to own them, but I'm kind of owning them for some future date in which you might be able to emulate PCs of old and get them to run nicely, or patch games. And there's something wrong with Nightbot again, because Travis spoke many times. The Nightbot never worked. Fine. Destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. Alright. What is his ability? Deal 2 damage after you play a card. Refresh this. Interesting. My fate is sealed. The light has betrayed me. So next turn I can just deal 2 damage. PC Gamer has PC gaming lows of 2017. Let's see what this. Andromeda flops. What is this? RE7 wasn't as like this list is different people's lows, and so there's some weirdness to this. Yeah, I'll just do this and win. So 2 people are upset about Mass Effect Andromeda. 1 person's upset about Take-Two versus Open 4. So that was the GTA thing of... See, well, this would be a 5/5 for 1. Well, I can fill my hand with coins. Let's see, what more do I want here? I'm gonna take that one there and move on. It's nice to do a dungeon run. I wasn't thinking I was ever gonna be able to put one of these on screen. I was just gonna do it all. And next page on the PC gaming lows. Like, honestly, loot boxes make for homogeneous game design. That's one I would certainly complain about, is that there's been some very uninspired, boring game design in the past couple of years. Not just this year. Like, even me playing Rise of Tomb Raider shows that there's just, like, bad game design added to AAA games just to force in microtransactions and multiplayer. And it's been going on for a long time if you include multiplayer. Here's an argument that you don't hear too much about, but it is, I think, pretty valid, is the graphics cards, because of Bitcoin and Ethereum mining, went up and up and up, and instead of down. And that put me in a weird issue where I kind of need to buy a new... well, I do need to buy a new video card, and I'm sort of trying to wait until... like, I'm trying to wait until we get to the next generation of games, but... video cards, but I'm not sure if the next generation is going to be cheap enough to buy like an 1180. I would like to get it to an 1180, if not higher quality equivalent game. Let's see, heal this and hit this and smash that and that. Destiny 2 apparently was a low as one of to one of the reporters. I'm not naming any of these reporters. The other thing is DDR4 RAM and DDR5 RAM and DDR6 RAM for all of their differences. None of those are in great shape. Like the RAM prices, probably due to collusion, have been going up more and more, and we need faster RAM and larger amounts of fast RAM more than ever with video with cell phones taking up a lot of them, and consoles taking up a lot of it. So hopefully we'll have a better year on buying faster RAM, establishing a better standard for DDR5 and PC, and faster RAM in the video cards and better video cards too. Here's a interesting thing that I don't know if it really is an issue because it's already been circumnavigated and there's a decent chance that they're gonna undo what they said they were doing. But Valve was straight up banning every Linux user in Team Fortress 2. Just entire VAC bans, so your entire Valve account was banned, which I think means you can't play any of your games anymore at all. Like, I think that's what that means. I'm not sure. So any Linux user that had any variation of the word catbot, C-A-T-B-O-T, in their username. So even if you were logged on, as I'm understanding it, as a different user, in Linux, they were looking to see if you had any user name called with catbot on it, and they were banning that as a very, very extreme measure to stop what was effectively a denial of service and just cheating going on a massive scale. That there were entire Team Fortress 2 maps for last year apparently that you couldn't play because there was just so many fake accounts with the name catbot. But the cheater has already changed it, so now it just generates random names. And so the thing here is that there is a small number of people that might have catbot in their name and not be a cheater, but I imagine it's so insignificantly small that they're not even willing to consider that. They're just banning everybody, and it's no real evidence of cheating, like just having your name catbot, which is it doesn't feel like a smart way to govern your product. It seems draconian. It seems a lack of due process. PC Gamer has an article, What We Want from Valve, from 2018. I bet what they don't want is people accidentally being banned because their name is catbot. Let's see. Let's see. Our minion is healed, so I can't do anything right now. The Steam interface overhaul, I suppose, is something they're working on, and I could certainly see the website being interface overhauled. There's work that can be done there. Like, that makes sense. They want Counter-Strike Go on Source Engine 2. I'm not sure that's really ever going to happen. Yeah. Deal damage equal to a minion's... deal damage to each minion equal to its attack. Well... I guess this would work? If I did this? Now this would kill this, this would kill this, this would kill this. So I'm just gonna do that. A little warning before Dota 2 changes. Interesting. Improved moderation and curation. Yes, PC Gamer in particular would love more curating and moderation in the hands of the video game industry so that they could censor the actual people who are paying for and play the game. PC Gamer is deep in the pockets of the video game industry, so yeah. Like they want to take away the ability to effectively negatively review a game for most reasons, if not all reasons, and turn the entire store into being useless as far as reviews, where everything is just a 7 or higher. And no better example of that other than the fact that like Metacritic is every single game is at 7 or higher. That's just the groupthink of major video game reviewers. I would argue the store needs better filtering and sorting options, and some things like an age rating system, a label to tell me whether a game has English subtitles or in English voice acting. And I'd like to know how much of that English voice acting is actually in the game. If it's a 5-hour game, is it relatively 5 hours worth of talking, or is it a 5-hour game with one cutscene at the beginning with English voice acting so they can say they have it? And their final thing they want is an actual game from Valve. I imagine the Steam store changes might happen, but a lot of the other stuff's not gonna happen. This is taking a little bit longer than it should. Next article we have: Platinum Games is working on 2 self-published games, and you can bet they'll end up on PC. The games will sit somewhere between AAA and indie titles, says the head of development, Atsushi Inuba. Let's see. Bayonetta and Vanquish developer Platinum is working on 2 self-published games. Its first stab at going it alone. So, I almost wonder if this is an indication that Bayonetta 3 has been canceled or let go by Nintendo, and so Bayonetta 3 might be on PC. Or, I mean, the more realistic thing, of course, would be that Bayonetta 3 funded Platinum Games well enough for them to make 2 more games on their own. And he told PC Gamer in April that it would like all its games to release on PC. So if these are independent gamers that they're not gonna have to go through a publisher or anything, there's a good chance it will be on PC. But and I guess that's at the core of it. What independent games mean is you're not going through a publisher. Let's see. The quote here is, "We're looking into creating our own IP, creating our own game. That makes more sense because untangling Bayonetta or Vanquish from the publisher Sega could prove tricky, if not," which I agree. Like, it would be rather difficult to let the Sega publisher and Nintendo too, in the case of Bayonetta 2 and probably Bayonetta 3, that would be tricky. Sadly, no real news there, so it'll probably be a very long time before we see the next Platinum game. I would hate to have the Bayonetta series replaced, but that might just be the only way to do it. Just make something different. I mean, Bayonetta is already the next Devil May Cry, so if they're just making the next Devil May Cry style game, it will still play well. There certainly is a lot of craziness and silliness that I loved in Bayonetta, but if you avoided that, it might be a little bit more more appealing to regular players. Let's see. This is not gonna work. Need for Speed Payback is gonna add an online free roam. Apparently players have wanted that for a while. Gain control with 2 or less. Let's see, let's go ahead and kill this guy. And kill this guy. See, I could play this and heal him and then play this again, but that's not going to help me in any way. Oh, I've lost. I don't think Need for Speed Playback was super well reviewed. There's no release date, but it will be free for all players. I imagine the online free roam mode was just kind of needed to... So that was 4. There is a trick here. Because if I had just managed to tie and destroy both of us at the same time, I would have gotten the second attempt. But nope. No such luck. So now I can choose Rogue again and see if the Rogues count towards the daily quest in 2018. That would be really nice. Like, if I could get around to the point where I was getting all the daily quests, doing these quicker battles in the Kobolds and Catacombs runs, I would do almost nothing but Kobolds and Catacombs runs. Alright, let's see. So, Steam has a blog for the best of 2017 list, and one is the top sellers, which I think we've already seen. Top selling new releases, top selling VR, top selling early access, and then top played games, which you kind of know what Valve is interested in that every single one of these lists is just top selling. But since they are a store, that kind of makes sense too. So, like, the top 100 games are on Steam. It's not kind of in any order. There's just platinum, gold, silver, and they're just showing everything there is to see.
Here we go.
Bronze. Like, even Prey is in the Bronze League. So, anything that almost came out that was worth playing. Doom, for instance, is in the Bronze League. Binding of Isaac. Afterbirth. Factorio. Honestly, this is probably a good list to start off with. Just what games you should cover if you were going to do your own top 10 list. Although, probably doing the new release list makes a little bit more sense. So the best-selling new releases games, they have that broken up by the months. So, for instance, January had Conan Exiles and Resident Evil 7, and those kind of are the only two that I would even mention. February, For Honor, and Night in the Woods, I guess. And then March was like, you know, going back and looking at it like this, the first 3 or 4 months weren't that great for 2017. It was only later in the game that things started getting better. Here we go. Next turn, if this guy survives, I've won. Like Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3, which is $10 right now, came out in March. That's less than a year. A lot of games are only 50% off during the sale. Even many years later. Let's see, April. There are games worth mentioning, but they weren't great, like Ukulele. What Remains of Edith Finch came out in April. Outlast, one of the Outlast games, I think, came out in April. Start the game with 3 secrets. Your minions have +1/+1. I'll take +1/+1. Should I go down the Jade route? Or should I go down the Pirate route? Or should I go down the Pirate route? Let's go down the Thief route. Outlast 2. That's what came out. May, Prey came out, and Star Trek Bridge Crew, and Friday the 13th, and that's when it started to really pick up. Vanquish came out and was forgotten. June, Tekken 7 came out, and Dirt 4 came out, but June was kind of short on games, according to this list. Maybe there was more of a reason for that than I recognize. Let's see. Slime Rancher came out in August. Slime Rancher probably should have been mentioned in discussions. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten into a top 10 list, but it should have been probably considered. Cuphead came out in September, so the 9th month is when you start to see some real things. And Danganronpa Volume 3, another game that arguably should have been in talks to win the top 10. I'm not saying that they would win, I'm just saying that they should have been mentioned. Also, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Killer Instinct both came out that same month. Which, that's more competition against Tekken 7. And the Dishonored Death of the Outsider, standalone continuation of the game. That came out too. Yeah, there was literally no talk about the Dishonored expansion. I'm not sure anybody even played it. Like, in some weird way. I really suspect a lot of people didn't play it. Or maybe it was just too much Dishonored in a row. Like, in all honesty, having somewhat recently played Dishonored, like, thinking about going back and playing it some more in Dishonored 2 didn't fully appeal. October had Life is Strange Before the Storm and Bomber Crew, a game that is apparently, it seems like it's more popular with the fans and not popular at all with the mainstream video game media. I gotta think of a different term to call them too. It's like the big media, big video game Big VG Media or something. Evil Within 2 came out in October. Shadow of War came out in October. Hat in Time came out in October. Wolfenstein 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, South Park. I'm surprised South Park didn't get talked about too much either. Sword Art Online arguably should have been played. So if we're gonna start getting more packs, common packs, by doing these Spelunker quests, that is a great thing to do. Like that's gonna help fill in newer players' account collections a lot better. Let's see, arena runs would be 150, and maybe I'll find some time to do the arena runs at some point. We don't need to do all 3 of these, so it's time to switch over to the Asian account. And I suspect the Asian account might have a similar setup as this one. Jackbox Party Pack came out in October too. Also in November, .hackgu Last Recode came out. Star Ocean Last Hope, like some World of Final Fantasy came out. None of those games probably deserve to be in the top 10 list. I'm kind of going through that same rant again of games that weren't considered. And they feel like they were unfairly not considered. Hand of Fate 2 had an expansion come out, so at some point Hand of Fate 2 I think did come out this year. And let's see, win 3 games of any class. I will trade that. Play 20 Death Rattle cards, play 30 Warrior cards, and play 10 Secrets. Yeah. And I think this was a watch and learn quest I had. Ooh, an epic. Nice. Let's disenchant this. And then let's look at the new cards and mark them as done, seen. I have 45 dust, which wouldn't really help too much. And on the Asian account, I'm just keeping all the gold versions of cards in case that means something or does something in the future. Let's make this our new favorite. Well, in fact, let's just make this one our new favorite, because I don't think I played that card back at all. So if I play a hunter, do I have a hunter with secrets? I think it's time to get rid of this hunter and make it a hunter with secrets to start with. Hunter, choose this, and then secret. S-E-C-R-E-T. Take this, this, and this, and this. And we'll take these two. And so at that point, that's as many secrets as we can do. So let's now do beasts and combine it into a double quest type thing. I want to play things that are actually beasts. There you go. So we call this Secret Beast. That's good enough for now. And that seems like that will work. And there's no reason to probably have it as a wild deck in the first place. Let's switch it to standard and just save. There we go. And play. Secret Beast. Play some ranked things and start going. Call of Duty World War II also came out in November. Neo came out in November. Injustice 2 came out in November. Like all three of those games not really considered for top 10 lists. Opus Magnum came out in December. Bridge Constructor Portal came out, but I wouldn't expect that. According to this list, PUBG came out in December. I don't agree with that at all. I don't believe that to be true. Let's see. Okami HD came out in December. And Getting Over It. Like, Getting Over It. Super popular streamer game right now, but I certainly could see why it wouldn't rate. Let's see. Let's play this. See what this is. This and this and this, and then the turn. So the best 2017 virtual reality games are, I'm gonna go through all of these because so many of them are gonna be unrecognizable. Space Pirate Trainer, never heard of it. Super Hot VR, have heard of it. Fallout 4 VR, have heard of it. Gorn, Rick and Morty Virtual Reality, Arizona Sunshine, Hot Dogs and Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, Onward, Audio Shield, Job Simulator, Raw Data, and Tilt Brush were the top platinum sellers. Do I have enough here to defeat this guy? Nope. So I get denied my strong play because of this. That's why so many people play Doomsayer on the second turn, is just to ruin your turn. Gold was I Expect You to Die, Doom VR, Dead Effect, Quiver, the Talos Principle VR. I like the Talos Principle and I actually need to come back and play the Road to Gehenna expansion and see if my video card will work a little bit better this time. Paranormal Effect, The Lost Soul, Virtual Desktop, The Last Hope, Vanishing Realms, Pavlov, Batman Arkham VR, something called Siren VR, I think. And like so many of those gold ones I haven't even heard of. Let's see. Silver, as far as VR games, Call of the Starseed, Eagle, Heart of the Emberstone, the Golf Club, Sports Bar VR, To the Top, some Serious Sam First Encounter, Gal Gun VR, Fruit Ninja VR, A Chair in a Room, LA Noir VR. Interesting how LA Noir is actually really low on the list. I would have thought it was a lot higher. Iron Wolf, The Blue, Brookhaven, 11 Table Tennis, Duck Season, John Wick. Now for bronze we have John Wick Chronicles, Castle Must Be Mine, Killing Floor, Incursion. Interesting. Man, they keep making killing floor games, I guess. It just never stops. Mass Exodus, Lightsaber VR, Trickster, Hollow Point, Air Mech, Out of Ammo, Cosmic Trip. I don't know what this one is. It's Archangel, I think. The Project Lux VR game, which is just talking to an anime girl. As best as I can tell, that's all it is. Play this. And then let's adapt this to Stealth until next turn or Divine Shield. And then play this. And then end the turn. Climby Knockout League. Is this a boxing game? Like, I'm hovering over it. It doesn't even show me an image. Nature Treks VR. Dungeon Knight Just in Time. Operation Warcade. Kitty Apocalypse. The Wizards. Racket. Richie's Plank Experience. That one got a little coverage because it's literally a game where it makes you think you're walking on a plank. Oh, I can just win. Let's just take that victory. 11 Assassin, Battlezone, Cloudlands, Carnage Far Beyond, Eternity Warriors, VTOL VR, The Invisible Hours. I want to point out that thank goodness for these top 10 lists, or there would be no news at all. Like, it's probably pretty boring going through all these top 10 lists. Like, I'm a little bored looking at them myself, but they are actually rather helpful. Like, there's no doubt of that. Particularly these VR games. Like, there's this whole separate section of games in the world that most people can't play. I can't play. I don't have a VR setup. I don't want one particularly. Most of these games seem so generic and so bad that they don't even bother to give them like names more than the basic things, or they're just variations on the regular version of the game. And VR really feels dead at the end of this year for me. Continuing, there's a game called Bullets and More, Surgeon Simulators, Skyworld. I believe Skyworld was a RPG Maker game. So, nope, that must have been something different, or maybe it was a game with the same name. No, that was Skyborn that I covered, not Skyworld. Alright. Overkill, Standout, VR Battle Royale, that's just trying to ape PUBG. The Diner Duo, Modbox Vertigo, Form, Front Defense, Drunken Bar, Dread Halls, Detached Spark, 2017, Fancy Skies, Island 359, Soundboxing, Organon, Virtual Anatomy, like, that I might be for the educational purposes more than anything else. Soundstage, Tales of Glory, what's this one called? Can't even tell. Ultra Wings HD VR. Ultra Wings feels like it's a Pilot Wings clone. So, like, if there's a non-VR version of that game, I might actually play it. But I've been through this whole list now, and there's not a single new game on this list that interests me. I either knew about the VR versions of regular games before I looked at this list, or if it was unheard of to me, they're uninteresting, boring games. So I would heavily suspect there might not even be a best of 2018 VR games. And the next list Steam has is best 2017 early access graduates. So games that left early access. I could see why a list like this would be helpful. But all it really is saying is that the games left early access, and because of that they're on this list. Doesn't mean the games are actually finished or the games are actually good. So like Slime Rancher, but PUBG, still not a finished game in my opinion. Let's see. Lego Worlds left early access, but it really wasn't great. Like YouTuber's Life Xmas Special. Do you really need a separate game for the Xmas Special? No, you're just trying to get more money. Overgrowth. I thought that was a game I might be interested in, and I didn't even know it was out. Kona, another game. This list is actually kind of helpful for me in particular because it lets me see the games that were on my follow list that I need to move to my wish list or reevaluate to put on my wish list. But there is a lot of games on this list that are not completely finished and are not that good in the first place. And then the most played of 27 best most played games. Ark Survival Evolved. I think Ark Survival Evolved is probably dead. Payday 2 Ultimate Edition, I think that's probably dead. Warframe, Rainbow Six Siege is gonna be dead. GTA will stay alive. Counter-Strike Global Offensive will stay alive. Dota 2 will stay alive. H1Z1 is probably dead by the end of 2018. And PUBG is probably dead by the end of 2018 too, replaced by something better. Then the next category of over 50,000 simultaneous players, the first category was over 100,000 simultaneous players, so now it's half of that at any point, I imagine, in the year. So you have like Football Manager, Gary's Mod, Rust, Conan Exiles, which I still don't think is out of early access, really. Rocket League, I can see Rocket League, Path of Exile, Jungle Infernal, Civ 5, Divinity Origin Sin, Total War, Warhammer 2, Paladins, and Shadow of War, which kind of is questionable why Shadow of War is even in that category, other than they crammed that gameplay style into the game. And then the next category is over 25,000 simultaneous players. So you have like Don't Starve Together, Winter's Feast, and the Elder Scrolls Online. Wow. Ooh. Is this the Elder Scrolls Online? That is a ridiculously low number of people playing the Elder Scrolls Online. Counter-Strike, the original game, which is 99 cents right now. People still playing that. Fallout Shelter, Euro Truck Simulator, Europa 4, Black Desert Online. Black Desert Online is, or was at least at one time, very, very popular in China. So I could see some reasons behind some of those. Let's see. If I do this and this and then this, and then this, and that, and that. And we'll go ahead and attack there. In the turn. Ghost Recon, Left 4 Dead 2, Witcher 3. Why is The Witcher 3 an online game at all? Like, what's the online component to Witcher 3? Oh, I guess this isn't online components as much as just how many people are playing this game at the same time. So a ton of people were playing Witcher 3 in a single player experience because that's all I think there is. And it was so high that it registered. Right next to Binding of Isaac Rebirth. And Final Fantasy XIV and Shadow of Mordor. So people were playing the old game too. Battlerite, Fallout 4, Skyrim. Probably not the remastered edition, or maybe it was adding both of those. Assassin's Creed Origins. There is something to consider here, that there was a lot less time for Assassin's Creed Origins to hit 25,000 simultaneous players as, say, Fallout 4. Just because of how that whole system is set up. Well, just because Assassin's Creed Origins only came out a month or two ago. Let's not attack. Yes, instead in the turn. Stellaris, XCOM 2, Dead by Daylight, For Honor, Killing Floor 2. Man, that Killing Floor just never stops. I guess that's why I got Killing Floor 1 for free, is that they had something else to sell. 7 Days to Die, Stardew Valley, Terraria, Dark Souls 3, Unturned, free to play. Unturned was majorly played, particularly because it was overemphasized as a game on YouTube videos. Poisonous. I'll take that. Summon 2/3/2 wolves. Kill that guy. Kill that guy. Kill that one. Kill this one. Let's play this. I've got all these secrets to play. Darn it. And Dawn of War. And then the next category is over 15,000 simultaneous players. Is this really even something to be proud of at that point, though? Like NBA 2K18, Smite, Tekken 7. So how is Tekken 7 the top 7, one of the top 10 games of the year, when less than 15,000 people were playing it at any one point? Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Wolfenstein 2, The Colossus, City Skylines, Nier Automata. I guess I can't make that argument, can I? Since it seems like less than 15,000 people at any one point were also playing Nier Automata. So this is just a bad metric to make an argument against, isn't it? Farming Simulator, Portal 2, Rome 2, Absolver, Darkest Dungeon, Resident Evil 7. Let's see, Shadowverse, The Forest, Call of Duty World War II, Skyrim Remastered. So more people were playing the original Skyrim than the remastered version. Interesting. Should have played that. Borderlands 2, World of Tanks Blitz, Prey, Starbound, Hearts, Friday the 13th, Grim Dawn, Deceit, South Park, Mountain Blade, Yeah, this really doesn't mean anything at this level. It probably didn't mean anything at the beginning of the level. Clicker Heroes, for instance, there were 15,000 people online playing Clicker Heroes. Victoria, Life is Strange, Cuphead. Yeah. Rising Storm, Vietnam, No Man's Sky. Yeah. It wasn't until I saw this last category of simultaneous players that I realized this whole list is bonk and doesn't mean anything. Like, sure, there might have been a lot of people playing Ark Survival Evolved. Doesn't mean it's a good game. Doesn't mean there's anything worth saying about it or that it deserves to win. And just... let's go ahead and kill some people. Let's close that. Move on. The thing about the list, I suppose, that's nice is that it did give me several games to reconsider for my wish list. Alright. So, Eurogamer's Reader's Top 50 Games of 2017. And this list... you know, I think I've kind of had it with lists, so... if you want to read Eurogamer's Top 50 Games, which is almost every game, and I think this is probably the same top 50 list just rewritten that we've been following, but maybe it's not. Let's play a beast and draw 2 cards. Play another trap. Oh, this guy has so many. I've got to play. Yeah, when you get down to like the top 11 on this Eurogamer list, it's Cuphead, then Prey. I don't think Prey deserves to be above Cuphead. Wolfenstein 2, Divinity Original Sin, Assassin's Creed Origins, Resident Evil 7, Nier Automata, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, yeah, Super Mario Odyssey, and then The Legend of Zelda. The only thing, I agree with this list a lot better than I do the Giant Bomb list. I still don't think that Legend of Zelda beats Super Mario Odyssey, but fair enough. Let's see. Whose turn is it? It's his turn. Just trying to fatigue me to death. He's doing all the calculations. If he can make me draw 1 more card, which I can just by ending his turn, he'll win. Rock Paper Shotgun has the most exciting games of 2018, which is more of a list of pictures instead of anything else of what they're excited about. Let's click forward. A Way Out, American Truck Simulator. Let's see, did we play enough? Yeah, we played our 10 secrets. That's all we were really trying to do. And we need to play Death Rattle cards, I think now, which shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, play a bunch of Death Rattle cards which death rattle would be what? What would be the right account to? Let's just make sure we don't have one that says death already. Well, the druid has 2. He has several. He has 3. He has 2. Rogue would be a good one that probably have death rattle cards in. Yeah, so let's make a rogue deck. Buy to this rogue deck. Make a new rogue deck. Just go ahead and start with standard. This and discover death rattle. That, and that. And this. Now, I probably could do death rattle cards from the wild set, but this is good enough. There you go. So that's a quick and easy death rattle deck that probably needs a lot of tweaking, certainly, but it should get our daily quest done today. But let's break this up since we're about an hour in this recording too, and there's still a lot to talk about. Not surprisingly, besides Travis, my #1 fan at this point, nobody else is on the chat. Be nice if people on the chat, but I could also see why people are busy or just taking it easy after their New Year's partying. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is January 1st, and we're going through daily quests and list after list after list for the new year. Top 10 2017 games, what we're excited about in 2018. I only need to do 2 quests per account since it's Monday, so I just need to play a bunch of death rattle cards. We're starting to on the European and Asian account actually build some decks that make some sense. We have enough cards. I would argue that we collected enough cards to start having some form of strategy a lot quicker than my American account did. It was a much bigger struggle to get to the point where I was just not playing the default basic sets of cards, and also I think when I first started playing, daily quests weren't even in the game, so there was less reason to change your deck. It was simply trying to get up in ranked play, and that wasn't really working, and still isn't really working. So I just need to play 20 death rattle cards, which honestly might happen in one game. So we're looking at rock, paper, shotguns. The games I'm most excited for in 2018. The first one was A Way Out, then American Truck Simulator Oregon, then Anthem. I'm a little tired of going through all these lists, honestly. I've been through a lot of them. So I'm going to try and rush A game called Ashen, which I've heard of, but I don't even know what it's about. Battletech, not interested at all. That Cyberpunk 2077, you are reaching if you think that's coming out this year. It's not. Darksiders 3, extremely excited for that game. I gave Darksiders 1 War Mastered Edition Game of the Year for me, for not only being a good remaster and being a good game in general, but also for opening the door or leading the way to Darksiders 3. Far Cry 5. I'm not super interested in Far Cry 5. Maybe I'll get around to playing it, and that'll be just the first Far Cry I ever play. It would probably be better to play Far Cry 4. Or maybe even Far Cry 3. I don't think there's really a great argument to play Far Cry 1 or 2. Let's see. Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition. Who cares about that? Frostpunk, never heard of it. Griftlands, never heard of it. Like, until these games get a web page on Steam, I'm not even interested in some of these games. A game called Into the Breach that looks awful. Kingdom Come Deliverance looks like a For Honor clone, and For Honor didn't succeed. Metro Exodus, if I can get into that and actually play that, I'd be interested in that. Like, I don't know if I really need to go back and play all the other previous Metro games, or if this is a point where you can just jump onto the story. Now, while I would like to win and move up in ranked, there's really no need to do that right now. Let's see, Mineko's Night Market, never heard of that game. Monster Hunter World, I'm slightly interested to see if that will succeed in the West, because if it does, then I would feel like I should play it, and in playing it, I think I might have some fun. Let's see, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, not interested in that. No Truce with the Furies, sounds like an interesting title, but I've never heard of it. Ooblets, I don't know anything about it. I've heard the name. Finally. Let's see. Ori and the Will of Wisps. I need to play Ori and the Blind Forest before that happens. Does it have a release date? Not yet. Pathological 2. Or Pathologic 2. I'm not super interested in that. It is worth remembering that Rock Paper Shotgun is just the same company as Eurogamer and PC Gamer. So even though they have like 3 different names, and there may be 3 other company websites that I don't even follow, it really is just all the same people and the same corporation. Spelunky 2. A surprise announcement that there would be a Spelunky 2, but I didn't really like Spelunky 1, so I'm not gonna do too much with that. Stardew Valley Co-op. That's not gonna change my opinion on that game either, but it will make people that liked Stardew Valley happy, I'm sure. Surviving Mars. Tunic. Never heard of Tunic. It looks slightly interesting. UFO 50. Looks awful. Unlimited Goose Game. I think there's something weird about that game. Like it's a secretly it's really good, or there's something else about it. It's not quite what it seems. Either that, or I'm just thinking of something completely different. just keep on playing. 2 more. Wargroove looks uninteresting. And then the last page didn't even have a game on it, so yeah. I imagine, in my opinion, 2018 will be full of a lot of games, but people just aren't going to announce them. I think maybe over the years a lot of video game creators have learned not to announce games until they are really close to launching, and they're at least close to their hype cycle and they know they're not going to miss any dates. Of course, Crackdown from Microsoft, is Crackdown 3 has missed its date. And got pushed back, and plenty of other games got pushed back. Gamasutra says Nintendo... There's a report that says Nintendo expects to sell 20 million Switch consoles in the next year. Let's see. The system has already sold over 10 million units launching in March, so they're saying that there's still a lot of pent-up demand for Switch consoles, and they can double their unit sales. Maybe they can make it that way, maybe they couldn't. It's not like there's been an crazy amount of scarcity for the Switch. It really is going to come down to the quality of the games that come out for the Switch. Let's see. So last stream there was I quickly covered that police shot a Kansas man while responding to an alleged swatting. The 28-year-old was killed when he answered his door. He was shot and killed when he answered the door. Wow, what are you supposed to do when the police come to your door then? Like, literally. Like, in honesty, if the police come to your door, you probably should not answer the door and hide and lie on the ground. And maybe pretend you're asleep or something. Like, try to avoid bullets. Get into the center of your place, because if police come to your door and they don't have a warrant to enter your premises, there are instances where they just get bored and leave after a while, banging on your door. And if they're in full SWAT gear and they're gonna kick down your door, answering the door doesn't seem like the right move either. So you like there is like no win situation here. And what happened to the old thing? I'm wondering, where they would throw a phone. They would call you on the phone, and it would turn into a hostage standoff, and things like that. Like we see that. Well, we used to see that in movies all the time, and something has certainly changed in the U.S. police training, where they no longer just circle a building and try to talk people down if they think there actually is something terrible happening. I believe in this instance, somebody said he was going to burn down the house or something. It's like, and they just come in guns blazing every time. And the fact that this works is a shame on the police. Like, I can only see it from that angle. The police should be smarter. They shouldn't fall for tricks. Regardless of how intelligent or old somebody is, they should not be capable of calling the police and saying they are in a different place and that they're going to do something horrible. They did arrest a person, it seems, that allegedly called in the swatting, and he apparently was known to police already, and so he probably should have been in jail in the first place. But at the end of the day, stopping one person doing this isn't fixing the problem. Like, I would hope police learn to be more risk averse, even at the point where it seems like they're not doing anything. Like, it probably would have been a better story if the exact same scenario had happened and it turned out it wasn't a fake swatting call and the person did burn down the house and his whole family was in it. It still probably would have been a better story to say the police just stood by and were trying to negotiate and the negotiations failed. Like, sometimes not being proactive is the right move. There's a game called Orwell Ignorance is Strength. It's going to have fewer, more complex episodes than the original Orwell game. I think Orwell, though, was this kind of online... Well, I don't know. Is this the same? This isn't Beholder, which I talked about earlier. This is a different game. Like, a lot of games focusing around Orwellian societies where you monitor other people. Some of that probably is who got elected Trump, who got elected president. Slip there. But I imagine a lot of it also comes from older stories of just the NSA blatantly spying on people, which they've been doing, it seems like, for decades. Let's see. PC Gamer has this thing called the Looties, where they're basically stealing other people's content. PC Gamer's random selection of 2017 game of other people's 2017 Game of the Year awards. So I'm on the Americas account for the first time now, by the way. And 5 dust and a new card back. How high did I get in this? Was that a rank 20 chest? Yeah, it was. So 7 victories, and 2 of which need to be priest or warlock. Since we have this overlap, let's trade this one out. And we've got challenge a friend. So, anybody want to challenge me? Maybe Loki would come on, or maybe Tragic Master would come on. Let's see, what do I need to do we can challenge Tragic Master? Priest or Warlock? Do I have a decent Priest or Warlock deck? I almost certainly do. Here we go. Tragic Master, will you accept? I don't think he's watching. So apparently there's this list is not other people's lists as much as it is just other lists. Maybe I misread this. So they have like a best Mass Effect game, most unexpected death, most normal house. So these are kind of joke categories. Saddest child, saddest robots, corporate good guy of the year, corporate bad guy of the year. Okay, so those are lists on the not interesting enough to play. Interesting. Resident Evil 7 hasn't been out that long, but it's getting a 40% price cut to $24.99 pounds, or $30 US dollars, and then right now it's on 20% sale. I could certainly see that. I think the Resident Evil series, being a horror series, is kind of a niche, and that would add to making things like that not work that well, or not sell that well. And so we have Eurogamer's top 50 games 10 through 1. I think we skipped 20 through 11, so let's look at that one first, and then we'll do 10 through 1. 20 was Wolfenstein 2, and Tragic Master is not willing to play me. Alright. So, I'm gonna step away from looking at my chat and bring up my secondary account and challenge a friend and play myself to get victories, and then we will probably not even have a post show today, which I am more than happy to not waste people's time doing the post show. I mean, I suppose I could just be playing somebody else. But it's going to be really hard to cover the news and play myself and do everything else. So, in the meantime, I need to play one game. So let's try a Priest and Warlock game. We need to play ranked too. So that makes sense. Ranked, Classic Warlock. Combo 3 attack spells sounds like a good one to start with. Let's do that. So Eurogamer's 19 is Rime, 18 is Uncharted Lost Legacy, 17 is Splatoon 2, 16 is Life is Strange Before the Storm, 15 is Torment Tides of Numeria, 14 is Resident Evil 7, then Night of the Woods, then Prey. For 12, Divinity Original Sin 2 is number 11. I would highly argue some of the order of these games, but I also just think it's completely ridiculous to try and have the top 50 games listed. Like, it becomes so much nuance in the middle and at the end. So top 10 is Total War Warhammer 2, then Hellblade, the Next Machina, the game I saw nobody else even mention, Destiny 2, ARMS for number 6, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. There was a lot of talk about Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle in the Giant Bomb list and why it does not deserve to be anywhere near the top 10. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds for number 4, then Mario Odyssey, then What Remains of Edith Finch, which I think that's probably too high, then Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So Breath of the Wild again wins. Like, there must just be something I'm missing about Breath of the Wild. Like, it just doesn't, to me, seem as good of a thing. There's a game here 2 days ago called 1 Hour 1 Life, where a random online player is your mother. So I guess you have a 50-50 shot of being the baby or the mother, and it looks like a cheap Don't Starve ripoff of kind of a caveman world.
Here we go.
And so the baby gets born, the mother gives you clothes, skin clothes, and then she starts playing a phonograph. And then there's all kinds of items that I think this trailer is just having you walk by. Just to show how many different items there are in this world. So it's kind of a concept game where you're going to build bigger and better walls, but it's a very flat 2D looking game also, so I don't know how you accomplish what you want to do at this way of looking at the game. Like they're up to 178 different items that they've kind of poorly animated. I don't like this artistic style at all. And if you really only have an hour to live, and then food. And so at the end of this long thing where you run across a wild gooseberry bush, and your mother character apparently forgot to eat, and so she's dead there, and now you have to see. It says this game is 100% handmade, 100 new craftable objects added every week. Yeah, this game is way too much. Too ambitious. It's the next No Man's Sky type game. 1 hour, 1 life. Particularly if you actually can only play for 1 hour before you die of old age. Like, that's not going to be very fun of a game. There's this other game called Max and Maya, Cat Simulator, that seems to have zombies in it as well as cats. Like, I think this is probably a joke game. Let's see. So it's a minion. So it's a friendly minion. Yelling folks deal damage instead. Well, I'm about to lose, so what was I supposed to be doing right now? Yeah, I'm watching this Max and Maya trailer, and it looks like you can play as zombies or cats, and the cats, I'm thinking, might actually shoot and fight the zombies. But yeah, this is a joke game like Goat Simulator. Maybe it's gonna have enough polish to actually have a reason to play it, but I suspect not. Alright. And we're starting to hit the end of the list, but there's still more that needs to be covered, so I'm not ready to start playing myself. That gives anybody that wants to hop on and challenge me before I give myself that 80 gold on my secondary account. They should do that quickly. So Rock Paper Shotgun has the best Metroidvania games for PC. I assume this is for this year, so there's Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. There's Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. 1000 amps. I don't think I've seen that one. That one looks different. Dust and Elysian Tale. Is Dust and Elysian Tale really a Metroidvania game at all? Maybe. Salt and Sanctuary. Yet another game like on the list. Probably never gonna get around to playing it though. Axiom Verge. I have that game. It's on my short list to play. Owlboy. I played that game. Didn't like it, and I would argue it's barely a Metroidvania game. Too. Environmental Station Alpha. Haven't heard of that one. I do like Metroidvania games in general. There's one called La Mulana. Haven't heard of that one. One called AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. Is that on Steam? I don't think that one's available to find. except for through illicit channels. Like, that might be why some of these games don't show up. Strider? Is that a Metroidvania game? Interesting. Cave Story Plus. People keep talking about that game for years. I should probably try it. Aquaria. Never heard of that. I keep opening more pages. SteamWorld Dig 2. Arguably, that is a Metroidvania game. Arguably. Like, one of the things that's stopping me from playing SteamWorld Dig 2 is the fact that it's SteamWorld Dig 2. If it was a different game, that would be a lot more helpful. And none of those links that I just clicked actually opened up a Steam store or anything. It just relinked back to their own stupid website. Oh, that's useless. I'm going in circles with this. Let's see. There's a giveaway to potentially win an HTC Vive via Fanatical, what used to be known as Humble Bundle. And sure, if I can get a Vive for free, I'll take it. PC Gamer has an article, the best ways to gamble in PC games without losing real money. Let's see, there's Far Cry 3, Fallout New Vegas, Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. None of these are probably the right best ways to gamble. There's no good, like, no money gambling software on Steam. Let's see. Next, you have Watch Dogs, GTA San Andreas, Kingdoms of Loathing. Never even heard of that game. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. That was not a great way to gamble at all. Knights of the Old Republic, Borderlands 2. Yeah, this is a terrible article because it's not covering any gambling game. If you want to be like a real poker player, playing really real poker, that is useless information. It's just, no, that won't work. So let's do this.
Here we go.
Go ahead and kill that. PC Gamer has the best PC game music of the year. Let's see this list. There's the PC Gamer went all out with list. Tooth and Tail, Destiny 2's Hive theme, Ruiner. Some of these are specific themes, or some of these are the entire soundtracks. Sonic Mania, Nidhogg. At least in this case, this article is slightly helpful if you're just actually looking for that music. Cuphead, Prey, Dream Daddy. Apparently Dream Daddy has good music. I am probably still going to get around to playing Dream Daddy. I have no problem. I complained about it being on Giant Bomb's top 10 list, but let me make it clear. I would totally play Dream Daddy, and I probably would like it. I would probably be more critical of Butterfly Soup because the animation looks bad. But Whereas I think Dream Daddy was more of a labor of love. I think Butterfly Soup looks to be more cynical in nature. Let's see. Night in the Woods music, Near Automata music, Thimbleweed Park music, Tumbleseed. Tumbleseed is interesting that that game got no coverage as far as a good game, but its music apparently was good. Crypt of the Necrodancer should be good. And then the final one is Just Your Own Music. Or maybe not. Maybe it's a soundtrack called C Windows Media. Yeah, apparently that's some kind of weird music based on Windows sound effects. Ukulele apparently had good music. Outlast 2 apparently had good music. Hollow Knight, Flint Hook, and that's the whole list. I have 2 more tabs open, and we are done, I think. Like, I have a bunch of tabs, but they're not important tabs. And I'm trying to find the bundles on Humble Bundle. Like, we have a book bundle, Humble Monthly, comic book, books, and interesting. Now it's just at the bottom as I'm scrolling down the bundles. Well, I guess I'm on their main page. Yeah, they only have 3 bundles right now. 2 book bundles and 1 comic book bundle. Which, maybe this is the end of bundles for Humble Bundle, and it's all going to Fanatical. Still have a challenge a friend that I need to do, and victories that I need to do. And I guess if I play Priest or Warlock and get this done, I can save this one for Wednesday and just have to play 2 games instead of 7 games, which would be a lot. I'm looking at Twitter. Last chance for anybody to challenge me. It's like PC Gamer has more indie game in the list. I will save that for Wednesday, because Wednesday has this opportunity to actually be pretty slow if I've covered all the news and there's nothing new to say in the meantime. Let's see, there's an article that's not really that important. As soon as I'm done scrolling down, I'm gonna play my secondary account. I assume nobody has chatted anything. I'll look at the chat in a second too. Yeah, Jim Sterling has his worst games of the year list. I haven't watched that. Like, on top of my frustration with PC Gamer, which was new to me this year, and my frustration with Giant Bomb, which wasn't new to me this year, but seems like they've changed, or maybe I've changed. Maybe I've changed. Jim Sterling has just been completely pushed down to the point of irrelevancy. Like, I'll still watch him and I'll probably mention him, but he has no credibility with me. His opinions don't matter. He's not reviewing games anymore. His friend Laura Kate Dale, that he does the Jimquisition podcast with, she has no credibility on the games she reviews because she's got such a crazy liberal agenda that it's insane to give her. Yeah, I was gonna play Rogue, and I think my other account was gonna play Rogue too. So we'll just take a Rogue on Rogue gameplay. Right now I'm playing You Must Build a Boat, the sequel to 10 Million. I'm taking a break um, on The Evil Within before I do the DLC. And then after I'm done with the DLC, that's gonna just be the end of The Evil Within for me. Like I'm not gonna come back and play it ever a second time, I don't think. If I was, it would have to be on some weird list of games I want to play. Let's see. I don't know. It'd be like games I want to play a second time, and Borderlands 1 would certainly be at the top of that list. And I wouldn't even do that until I've just run out of all the new games I have. And at over 800 games, that's kind of hard to do, or probably impossible. If I covered 100 games this year and I have 800 games, well, I guess I would have to subtract the games I've already covered. So there might be 6 years, maybe a little less than that, worth of content that I could play if I just play everything and everything actually launches and runs and is worth playing. Now, the real metrics are definitely different than that, because a lot of games I have are garbage games I got for free, and every November I'll try and cover those. Although maybe I won't. Like, maybe I should do the got free things at some other point instead of October. No. No, I think I'm still pretty good with doing the got free in November. And then everything between December and October are going to be not particularly let's see, what am I trying to say? That they're not going to be special months where there's any kind of theme. They're just going to be play the game. And I'm going to go ahead and just ignore whatever quests I have to do for my secondary account. My secondary account getting any gold doesn't really matter. And nobody, as far as I can tell, said anything on the chat. I don't know how long my timer is going either. In about 5 minutes. So we did 3 episodes, no post show necessary. That's good. There is certainly a level to mention and talk about on my 2017 year 2017 year in review. There was totally things that could have been said about just how bad a year it was for all YouTubers, and I was rather chippier and upbeat considering like it was not a good year at all for ad revenue or for my channel. While my channel did consistently grow, it didn't grow as big as I would have liked it to, but I'm not sure if that would ever have happened. Oh man, did I not play the right thing? Man, they really need to fix that glitch. Fix your glitch, game. Stop showing me only one daily quest when I make progress on multiple daily quests. And generally it shows me the wrong one. So one more victory should work on this. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be upset. And yeah, it certainly is saving me time and frustration. I really in 2018 want to avoid any live streams that go into 10 o'clock midnight for no real reason other than daily quest just being frustratingly difficult. We've talked about what if daily quests turned into daily login rewards. I would absolutely love that. In this instance, a stream like today's would have gone the exact same length if it was daily login rewards. Or maybe, you know, might have gone a little bit shorter because I might have saved some stories for Wednesday, but that wouldn't have been a big issue either. So if we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then in the turn, and let's see, might as well do this and then attack. But yeah, the limiting factor today was news. It wasn't daily quests, but very often it is daily quests that are the limiting factor, the thing that makes me go into the post show. Which then if my channel had been a lot more successful in 2017 and it was like, oh, there's plenty of ad revenue and this is enough money to live off of, which I'm another year older and another year in which I'm not funding my own career, which that is incredibly scary. But if it had gotten to that point, then yeah, things would have been different. Let's just finish this off and hope this works. I guess I could have also talked about in the 2017 year in review non-YouTube projects such as the RetroPie and distractions on that. That probably won't happen too much in 2018. I need to work on my backup server desperately and find some time to do that, but that's about the only issue. Why is this not counting? Oh, because I need to be playing Priest or Warlock. Darn it. Alright, well, let's try this again. I have to get my other account out of the screen so that I can then challenge my other account again and accept and Priest this time, and Rogue still here. This won't take too long. I'm always a little iffy about asking other people to divulge information on the internet. I don't really want them to do it even if they want to do it. So, like, often I'll feel like I'm being a little curt, like, and not giving details and not asking for details. So, yeah, in general, I would ask people, how was your New Year's? What are your New Year's resolutions? All of that. But in this instance, since I wouldn't want to do that. And then there is also the danger of a YouTube channel being this fake friendship simulator where people follow me and they watch me as fans, and then all of a sudden they think we're best friends and they're assuming a lot more than they should, or misinterpreting the situation. So I'm a little standoffish because of that also. Unrelated to that thought, Loki apparently had a mess up on his videos, announcements and notifications on YouTube, and he'd been gone. Loki had been gone from my chat. It felt like 4 months plus, and I thought, oh, Loki is gone. He burned bright, and he was really helpful, and he talked a lot in the chat, and I just figured he had gotten bored and left. I didn't think I'd done anything to offend him or anything like that. I just thought he got bored, which is fair enough. Like, if I was watching me, eventually I would get bored of me in the live streams and stop watching them. But then he came back, which is nice. It's nice if people come back. It doesn't happen a lot, but... And then Travis wrote a very nice few sentences on my 2017 year in review, talking about how much he enjoyed my channel, which is humbling, to say the least, that anybody can say they actually really have enjoyed my channel for an entire year, and they think I'm doing good content, because in the back of my head there is a lot of thought that, oh, I'm just putting out a lot of quantity and not very much quality, that I'm not really doing that good of a job, that my channel is unsuccessful because I'm not that good, and some of that probably is true, but it's nice to find that there is an audience out there, even if it turns out the audience out there might not even include yourself. Now, many people would all argue, and I think very fairly, that if you don't like the content you're creating, nobody else is going to like it. But I do try really hard on this channel. I put a lot of man hours into it. That's kind of the one thing I can say, is that I'm trying really hard. You wouldn't make 5,000 videos if you weren't trying. It would be incredibly easy for me to just walk away from this channel and say, you know what, I'll just play the games. There are times I'm playing You Must Build a Boat, and that's a puzzle matching game, and it's a little too difficult to get all of the quests done while also talking, so I am playing a lot of it off screen. But if I was just to play that whole game off screen and not make any content, that's doable. That's something I could do. But there is also the desire to have a videotaped, recorded history of me playing games. I've played so many games in my past where there's really no evidence or history that occurred at all. Every game I ever played with the NES, of course, like games that were on consoles up to even the 360, there's no record of any of those games that I 100%ed and beat, other than a gamer score that won't probably be around forever. And what I thought and what I felt while playing those games is certainly lost to time. So if my channel is nothing more than just a repository of videos making a historical record of what I was doing, I'm still happy with that. There is some fears certainly going into 2018 that YouTube will just collapse. Twitter and Facebook both have been proven to be very useless as far as getting new viewers. Seems like Reddit really is the only thing that feels like it would increase my views if somebody posted my videos to Reddit and they got upvoted to the front page. Links to my videos, not downloading and stealing my videos. 'Cause, 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 that would be nice, but that would also be, that seems like the only way new people get pointed to it outside of YouTube itself, and YouTube's recommendation algorithm is acceptable at best, and I wouldn't even go that far. Let's see. Play this, and then play this. And then end the turn. Now, unless I screwed up again, which I don't know how I could have done that, after I win this game, I should have that quest done, and I should have 4 victories out of 7, so that'll make Wednesday really easy too. Which, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, fears, almost all my fears revolve around YouTube. It's like, does YouTube collapse? Does YouTube close in and say my channel's too small, or we're kicking you off? Does YouTube delete all my videos? Does YouTube demonetize all my videos? Does it content ID all my videos? Do I somehow actually get sued for copyright infringement by some rogue invalid complainer on YouTube? Those are the major fears with my channel. If none of those happen and we just stay the same, that's probably fine, but I would also like 2018 to be room for improvement on YouTube. Like, I'd like them to start recommending my videos to new people. I'd like them to get rid of a lot of the garbage videos on YouTube. Of course, the danger of me saying getting rid of the garbage videos, it's very possible many people will say my videos are garbage videos too. But what I really mean is, if they got rid of the Elsa Gate stuff, if they got rid of things that are low quality, the full gameplay videos with no commentary, those could be easily eliminated from the list of videos available, and those should go, because they're not valid. They're not valid content. They just aren't. If people want to watch somebody play a game with no commentary, they should just mute the video of somebody who's actually adding something transformative to the art. Alright, well, a good three recordings, I suppose. Like, let me just double check the chat before I leave, and then we'll be done. Yep, just Travis. Travis gets the notification. He hops on. He says hello. He says goodbye. I suppose that's nice. And that's it for the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have